Today is my last day in Northern California on my family property. I've gotten to spend some time with many, many dear friends that I've known for a long time, and I hope all of you have a chance to do that as well. It's so sweet. And I had a chance of walking on the edge of the world beside the ocean. And then the big reason for being here, which is getting rid of stuff and giving it to people who will use it. Because I've had a lot of stuff in storage for a long time. It's kind of like thinking about preparation to die so that I don't leave behind a whole bunch of stuff for other people to deal with. And it takes so much longer to get rid of it than it does to collect it, unfortunately. To find the right home for it, or to take it to a thrift store where someone else will go, oh, this is just what I needed. So I know most of you are a whole lot younger than I am, but I would highly recommend beginning to do that now. Things seem to creep in, and rather than getting rid of something when one more thing creeps in, we just add it to our possessions. And then we end up with so much more than we need. And it becomes a burden, and we have to think about it. And it takes up a lot of mental space, like how many shoes do I have? Where are they all? Right? So I think it's a really good process to begin to set our minds for the future and to lighten our load so that we can really put our focus where we want it to be, not on our possessions. So I highly recommend it. I am not done. There is a saying that the first 40 years you collect, and the second 40 years you try and get rid of what you collect. So it kind of seems to be where I'm at right now. I just wanted to kind of share with you. And so on Thursday when we meet, I'll be in some hotel somewhere on my way back to Arizona, because for me it's a 2-day drive. Okay. I would love to see everybody's faces. I see there are 51 people. I see about 30 faces, probably less. Oh, here comes some more. Thank you so much. Oh, and some more. Thank you. It really helps to teach to people rather than just names with pictures or not even pictures in there. So with that, we are going to start. So we're in course 9 today. We're beginning course 9, which is Vinaya. Now, you may or may not have heard the Vinaya if you haven't done these courses before, but it means really how to live properly, how to live an ethical life, how to be a good person, how to treat others as you would treat yourself. And the motivation for studying Buddhist discipline is that we want to reach nirvana, at least nirvana, if not full enlightenment, right? That's where we want to go. What's the difference? Nirvana is escaping samsara, and full enlightenment is being an omniscient being who can help every other being in the universe. So our condition in this world, in this samsaric world, is caused by our bad thoughts. And we can all see it playing out in the world, unfortunately. And we don't know with any certainty that what we have now, we're going to have next week. So it's our bad thoughts and our desires, right? And nirvana is reaching the mental place where you are incapable. It's no longer possible for you to have a bad thought ever again, no matter what happens to you. Wouldn't that be cool? Wouldn't that be an incredible relief and a way to walk through the world? You might have pain, but it won't disturb your peace of mind. To reach nirvana, you must perceive emptiness directly. And to do that, you have to not create waves in your mind. So you must maintain an ethical way of life out of a feeling for this world is not working. My mind is full of negative thoughts. And I am going to use the Dharma to move beyond those. So it's out of a feeling of renunciation. That is the motivation with which we should engage in this study of Buddhist discipline. That other way of doing things just doesn't work. Right? And I don't think we would be here, any of us would be here, if we thought it did work. We are looking for something different. I know that's what brought me to Buddhism. I was tired of the ups and downs of life, of being in love, of not being in love, of being happy and not being happy, of knowing what I was doing and then not knowing what I was doing. I was like, why is my life like this? I want something different. Who can teach me that? The Buddha is where I turn to. So Vinaya is a Sanskrit word. Dualwa is a West Chinese word. And Nulcha Dharmabhadra said, we call Vinaya Vinaya. We call discipline discipline. Because the subject matter of the scriptures on discipline, which is the 7 rules and all their friends, functions to discipline the bad thoughts and also functions to discipline our sense organs. So dua means to tame. And you see, I have a picture of a horse here, especially a young little one. So it means to tame as in to tame a wild horse. And what is the wild horse we're trying to tame here? Our mind. Yes. And then Lord Buddha said, Duwa ni tundang, nepa nuyin. If Vinaya is taught truly anywhere, not sure what that, let me just see. There, yeah, I think there's a spelling mistake there. If Vinaya is taught truly anywhere, I, the Buddha, am there. So we can consider Lord Buddha here with us at this very moment. It is stated from the point of view of the subject matter, the collection of scripture on Buddhist discipline, that it constitutes the highest teachings of the Buddha for 2 reasons. One is, in essence, these teachings are sufficient to represent the entire instructions of the Buddha. And 2, because they illuminate the rules of ethical behavior, these teachings can also act as a substitute for the Buddha himself. So what is, wait for Persia to catch up. So what does Vinaya address? Somebody besides Natasha know? Ethical discipline, yes. Yes, bad deeds. Who said that, Sarah? Bad deeds of body, speech, and mind. Peace of mind, wisdom, vows. Yes, we use vows. Vinaya expressly addresses good and bad deeds. And this is the subject which is called Lendre. Everybody say Lendre. This is karma and its consequences. So there is a connection with what we think, what we say, and what we do, and our whole world. So it's pretty useful, right, to know where everything in the world is coming from. And it's useful for us to know where everything is coming from because it implies that you can control your future. How? You can fix what you don't like about it now by leading a moral life. So, what are the sources? We always need to talk about the sources for the teachings. There is an early Sanskrit commentary called Duado. In English, that's the Sutra on Discipline, the Vinaya Sutra, right? And it was written by Master Gunaprabha, Lopan U, around 500 AD. It is in the Tangur section, which are the commentaries. So that means that it's not a true sutra. Here it just means short book. A lot of times, sutra, most of the time, it refers to the open teachings of an enlightened being, like Buddha's words. But here it means short book, not Buddha's words. There are also three other commentaries. The Essence of the Ocean of Vinaya by Lama Tsongkhapa. It's only 300 pages. It's only three, not 300. It's only 3 pages, right? And Lama Tsongkhapa lived 1357 to 1419. And then there's Yishin Norbu, the wish-fulfilling jewel. And this commentary was missing for about 40 years. So about 20 years ago, maybe, it was found in St. Petersburg. That's in Russia. And it's by Chuni Lama Drakpa Shedrup. And it explains the whole Vinaya Sutra. And a wish-fulfilling jewel is like, do you know the story of Aladdin's lamp from the Mid-East? You rub the lamp and a special spirit comes out and it says, I will grant you your wish. Or maybe 3 wishes if you're lucky. And then you get to make a wish. So a wish fulfilling jewel is the same thing. you find it in a special place and you do this whole ritual, and then it will grant you your wish. And so that's the name of his book, that our vows, our ethical way of life, is a wish-fulfilling jewel. It fulfills all of our wishes. And then there's Nyingye, Daymaker. And this is by Nucha Dharma Bhadra, who lived 1772 to 1851. And Daymaker is a special word for sunshine. So just like sunshine creates light for us, Daymaker sheds light on Geshe Kappa's text. And his text is the essence of the ocean of Vinaya. And then Nucha Dharma Bhadra's commentary, Daymaker, was the basis for Pabonka Rinpoche's commentary on ethics, on morality, which is an important work in the Vajrayogini lineage. So if that is a path you decide to take into the Diamond Way and get the teachings on Vajrayogini, then you will be studying Pabonka Rinpoche's commentary. And we just finished a book by him, right? We just finished Liberation in the Palm of Our Hand. So Lama Tsongkhapa wrote an epistle, a short piece. It's an epistle is a literary composition in the form of a letter. So it's a teaching in the form of a letter. And Geshe Kappa's epistle to Nawang Drapa, who is one of his students that he sent to the eastern part of the country to start monasteries and to ordain monks. And so this letter that he wrote to Nawang Drapa was on the occasion of the ordination of the first monks of Gyalrong. Why is any of that important? Gyalrong is the house, like in universities, they have different sororities and fraternities and houses. At least in the West, they do. And also in West China. And our house is Gyalrong House. Geshe Michael belongs to Gyalrong House. His teacher Ken Rinpoche belonged to Gyalrong House. His teacher belonged to Gyalrong House, Tricham Rinpoche. Trichang Rinpoche's teacher, Pabonka Rinpoche, belonged to Gyalrong House. And so this is our home. And in this epistle, in this letter to Nawang Japa, Lama Tsongkhapa talks about Sherab, the extraordinary training of wisdom. It is taught in the Abhidharma, and it means the direct perception of emptiness. And then he talks about Tingenzen, the extraordinary training of meditation, which is taught in the sutras. It means meditative concentration that has the ability to keep the mind fixed single-pointedly on a holy object. When we have a perfect meditation, it's like the water on a pond or a lake, which is totally still. There's no ripples, there's no movement, totally, totally still. And in his letter to Nawang Japa, Lama Tsongkhapa mentioned that even at his time, even during his time, very few people recognized the fact that the extraordinary training in meditative concentration has to come before the extraordinary training in wisdom. What does that mean? It means a person can't perceive emptiness directly without reaching a high level of meditative concentration. And what is this extraordinary, right? We're talking about 3 extraordinary trainings. We've talked about 2. What does that extraordinary mean? It means that it's a teaching that is aimed at either nirvana or Buddhahood. And then the third extraordinary training is the training of ethical living. And that is what is taught in the Vinaya. Morality, being a good person in everyday life. And Lama Tsongkhapa also says that by his time as well, the fact that the extraordinary training in an ethical life as a prerequisite for the training in concentration had also been forgotten. So you can see how having the training, the extraordinary training on how to live a good life, quiets the negative thoughts and the desirous thoughts, which then leads to the extraordinary training of meditation. So that you have a pond that is totally still, that reflects your mind, and you can go deeply into things. And it's when you get to that single pointed focus that you can reach an extraordinary training in meditation and turn it towards understanding the pen. So I'm not making this up. Lama Tsongkhapa says that a clean and undisturbed state of mind is produced by an ethical lifestyle. And it is necessary to see emptiness. It is as necessary, excuse me, to see emptiness as a clear and undisturbed pond is in order for a reflection of the moon to appear in it distinctly. So don't take this on Geshe Kappa's word or my word. Test it out. Start watching how you speak to others, how you act, what the thoughts are in your mind. Can we begin to closely watch our minds and stop ourselves from saying negative things to people or doing harmful things to others and ourselves? At least if we meditate in the mornings for anywhere between 15 minutes and 45 minutes or an hour, if we're not obsessing on what someone said or did to us during our meditation, we create the good seeds for that quiet, peaceful mind where we can go deeper into something because we can guide our energy there. We can guide our mind there and examine something more closely. So, where, again, we're going to revisit this, where our mind should be when studying Vinaya. And in his epistle on ethics, Lama Tsongkhapa continues, he says, if keeping up this ethical way of life becomes for us something motivated only by a concern about how we look to others, or about the honor and gifts we might get, then the real point of ethics is lost. So we really must maintain an ethical way of life out of a feeling of renunciation. A true desire to escape our present suffering condition, known as samsara. And samsara is the fact of our defective and suffering body and mind. And in the opening lines of his text, he mentions that the vows of individual freedom constitute the subject matter of the scriptures on Buddhist discipline. We're talking about individual freedom vows, the pratimoksha vows. They are the most basic foundational vows that are offered and that we take. And he says, let's see, who's here and can read this for me? Tamara, can you read the English? No. Barbara Acevedo, can you read the English? Thank you.
It is a turning away from harming others and its basis caused by an attitude of renunciation.
Thank you. So it's a turning away from harming others and its basis caused by an attitude of renunciation. And Master Nutradharma Bhadra explains in his commentary to Lama Tsongkhapa's work that these vows are given the name individual freedom for the reason that those who take and keep them properly gain freedom from the cycle of suffering. But those who act in the opposite way will fail to gain this freedom. What does along with its basis mean? It is referring to the last three non-virtues, which are the basis for the other seven in our list of 10. Right? Anybody remember what those last three are? Of the 10 non-virtues? Ill will, wrong view, craving. Wait, I gotta back up here. Craving, ill will, and ignorance. Ill will, jealousy, wrong view, craving. Yeah. Craving, meaning you want something that somebody else has, right? Ill will, that you wish somebody that something will happen to them. You don't like them, right? You criticize them, ill will towards somebody else. And then wrong views. What are wrong views? Not understanding karma and emptiness. Yes. Misunderstanding. That everything is self-existing. Yes. We forget about the pen. Exactly, right? So, along with its basis means that we agree to refrain from the thought process that makes us hurt others. And that's what these three are about, these last three non-virtues. So if you were going to take freedom vows, one's proper motivation would be that you're fed up with the suffering of this life. So there are different levels of pratimoksha vows, right? There are, well, we'll get in. I don't remember if we get into the different levels of pratimoksha, but I think we do. We'll talk about it. But the categories are first these six. Marcus, would you read them, please?
Sure. One, their basic nature. Two, the way they are divided into 8 types. 3, their individual descriptions. 4, who can take them. 5, how they are lost. And 6, the benefits of keeping them properly.
Thank you. So the basic nature, number one, is explained in the 4 philosophical schools of Buddhism differently. They have different understandings. And those 4 different schools are the detailists, or the Vaibhashika in Sanskrit. Abhidharma is their basic understanding is presented in the Abhidharma. And then there's the sutras or Sautantrika. And then there's mind only, Chitta Mantra or Tsemsam. And then the 4th school is Madhyamika, the middle way. Right. Number 2, the way they're divided into 8 types. What are those 8 types? There are the one-day vows. And as they sound, they only last for 24 hours from sunrise to sunrise. And then we have lifetime layman's vows and lifetime laywoman's vows. We have novice monk and novice nun. And then we have intermediate nun, fully ordained nun. They have 364 vows. And fully ordained monks who have 253 vows. Being good, being moral is the basis of your spiritual success. So avoiding the 10 misdeeds is like the engine that drives all spiritual progress. So if that's true, then maybe we should check our vows and our conduct every day. And there's a special method to do that, which I know many of you are doing. I don't know if all of you are doing it, called the 6 times book. Where you stop 6 times a day and you check basically your state of mind. And we use our vows to do that check. I have been checking my vows for 30 some years. Why? Why am I still doing it? Because I still need to. Because I have a crazy monkey mind, right? And by continuously checking them, that effort to improve, it is the, as I said before, it is the engine that will drive all of our spiritual progress beyond our present state. And interestingly enough, the energy of taking a vow to avoid a certain behavior and then deliberately avoiding it is much more powerful than simply not doing it. Why is that? Because our current natural goodness comes from past seeds. It comes from living ethically before. And it's easy to lose that goodness as we get older. And the karma that we created wears out. So every moment that we avoid certain behavior consciously, deliberately, because a holy being has given us vows, we are planting new good seeds. And don't forget, the quality of your meditative concentration is directly related to keeping your morality purely. So if things aren't improving, then most likely you are not regularly focusing on improving your behavior, your ethical life. So check it out. And I highly recommend keeping a 6 times book and having a book buddy to help you. And by you helping them, you also plant seeds for you to be able to do it. So what are the lifetime layperson's vows, both men and women? They're pretty easy to keep, and they include 5 serious bad dates. The first one is killing a human or human fetus. Miyam mirchakpasupa. Right? Just avoid killing a human or human fetus. Number 2 is not stealing anything of worth. So not stealing anything that says worth more than a quarter karshapana. And Geshe said, it's like nothing worth more than the cost of a sweater these days. But if we really want to be careful, we get down to paper clips from work or texting our friends while we're at work, like stealing other people's time. This is what the book helps us to do, is to see how we do these things. Maybe not specifically stealing something worth more than a quarter karshapa, more than a sweater. But what are the little things that we do that build up, that pile up, and then we experience the results of those negative seeds? This also includes cheating on your taxes. And having a book buddy can help you to, like, we call it the onion skin theory. Okay, I'm not doing that, but maybe I'm doing this. And to help you to purify your negative thoughts and actions, and of course, speech. Number 3 is lying about your spiritual life. And this is especially saying that you saw emptiness directly. Number 4 is committing adultery, being unfaithful to your spouse or your partner, or having sex with another married person. And number 5, taking intoxicants. So Lord Buddha said that anyone who drinks or serves the amount of alcohol that fits on the tip of a blade of grass is not a Buddhist. Why? Because intoxicants cause us to be mindless, less mindful of what we're thinking and saying and doing. And so when that happens, we break our vows. We do unethical things. We easily convince ourselves that something is okay to do because we want it. There's also an additional part, which is never to break the advices on going for refuge. Specifically, this is not giving up the Dharma jewel, which refers to hurting other people. This is the Dharma refuge. And the essence of all the advices on refuge is to give up hurting others. Anytime you cause anybody else or you instigate anybody to do the above 5 things, it's equal to doing it yourself. Taking vows and keeping the vows as well as we can, right? We wouldn't have vows if we kept them. We wouldn't need them. They actually change your sensitivity to the Dharma and your spiritual capacity. So, who can take them? We're talking about the 10 foundation vows, the 10. We can look at them in a positive way or a negative way, what to do or what to do, right? And these 10 are, they're called the foundation. There's something which something else rests on. In Vinaya, foundation means an appropriate body and mind with which to take the individual freedom vows. And there are 7 characteristics of those who are eligible to take the vows. Beings who live, this is coming from Nabhidharma, remember. Excuse me. Beings who live on the northern continent of unpleasant sounds. Right? These beings always live for 500 years, and therefore they can't have renunciation. Where do we live? We live on the southern continent. Those who are impotent and unable to engage in sexual relations, there's something about the male and female sexual energy which gives us strength to practice. Here again, because of sexuality, neutered persons who lack sexual energies. Hermaphrodites who also lack pure sexual energies. Anyone who has committed one of the 5 immediate bad deeds. What are those 5? Anybody? Killing your mother, father, arhat. That's 3. Drawing blood from a Buddha, that's 4. Creating a schism is 5. Thank you, everybody. Good teamwork. Cool. Yeah, killing your father, your mother, an arhat, drawing blood or trying to hurt an enlightened being, and causing a schism in the Sangha during the time that Lord Buddha walked on this earth. It's very specific. That doesn't mean we don't have to be careful about creating schisms in our world. I live in a world that is obviously, or a country that is obviously experiencing the karmic ripening of people being divisive, of creating schisms. So I must have done it in the past because I'm living in this country. This is how we use the Dharma to fix things, right? Oh, that's what I'm seeing. So I must take care of it. And then there are imposters who pretend to take the vows. They might take it out of curiosity or any other insincere reason. The vows won't stick. They also don't stick for people who don't believe in karma and rebirth or the 3 jewels. And I'm sorry to disappoint you, but that's the end of today's class. A whole half hour early. So the next class, we'll talk about how you lose your vows and what the benefits are and the 10 non-virtues and their karmic results. Just to give you a window into what our next class will be. So your meditation assignment is to review daily with an analytical, meditation, the 5 vows and the 1 additional part, right? And then to see how closely you might have come to breaking one of those in the last 24 hours. And then you also get to rejoice in how far you might have acted in upholding the vow. Right? For example, how did I protect life today? Oh, there was a spider in my sink and I gently caught it and put it outside. So that's your meditation homework until we meet again on Thursday. I'm going to stop sharing and go into gallery view so I can see everybody. I like this new Zoom with all the bubbles and everything. Whee! It's so cute.
Спасибо огромное, дорогой учитель.
Благодарю. This is Esteemed Ven Gyelse. Благодарю.
Thank you so much, dear Lama.
Yalta, thank you very much.
Спасибо.
Thank you very much, Venerable Gyelse, for beautiful class and very inspiring
Alrighty,
class.
then happy July 1st.
М,
And I will see you in a couple of days.
Я с вами встречусь через
Few days,
несколько
I
дней,
guess.
через 2
Somewhere
дня,
in the middle of the desert on my way back
Ага.
to Arizona.
где-то посередине Аризоны,
And then we
посередине
only
пустыни.
have one more week of class.
А потом у нас остается только 1 неделя, и все, курс
Thank you for being
закончен.
here. Thank you for
Спасибо,
taking
что вы
this
здесь
into your
были.
lives and putting it into good use. Okay? And making this world a better place. That's the most important thing. And we need all of you to do that.
Soy con cámara, soy con cámara.
Alrighty. Bye-bye.
Ya estoy acabando.
Thank you so much, dear Lama. Please stay.
Thank you. Please stay, please stay, please stay, please teach us. Gracias, Lama. Gracias.
Thank you very much, Venerable Gyelse, Long for life, beautiful long life, teachings. dear учитель, dear teacher.